Well, overall, it's a very strong rally today, but could part of this rally be attributed to what happened in Germany overnight? That's where major world powers gathered to tackle the bloodshed in Syria. Secretary of State John Kerry meeting with Sergei Lavrov and other foreign leaders in Munich, Germany to agree to a, quote, this is important, listen, a, quote, cessation of hostilities. Oddly meaning not exactly a ceasefire, but that aid will be delivered to the Syrian people and attacks on those aid convoys will be avoided. That's supposed to take effect not today, not this weekend, but next week. Here's what the convoys will find. Scorched earth. Literally, take a look at these eerie drone footage pictures of the Syrian city of Homs, completely devastated by airstrikes. We were talking about this early in our meeting, and somebody says like Berlin, but at least post-war Berlin, you'd see people scurrying around. You see nothing in those pictures. It's very hard to imagine that this region will be inhabitable in the near future. And just this week, a UN-supported research group revealed that 11.5% of the entire Syrian population has been killed or injured since the conflict began. Will this, not a ceasefire, cap that number? Retired U.S. Army Major General Bob Scales on why his answer is no. Why not, Major General?
Well, the big winner here, Liz, is Russia. Russia, Iran, and Hezbollah. Because Russia, after a one-year military campaign, very low cost for them in terms of money and casualties, wins everything. First of all, Assad remains in power maybe for a generation. The ground gains that Russia has made over the last year are now consolidated, and they get to keep them. Yes. There's going to be aid going into Aleppo, but who controls the roads? Assad does. The Syrian resistance wasn't even consulted in this agreement, and they're the big losers. And the United States is able perhaps to claim a moral victory here, but the military conditions on the ground are what dictate the political conditions of this agreement. And on all counts, Liz, Russia is the winner.
Russia is the winner. And in a way, Assad, because this, I believe, does not remove Assad from any position.
Absolutely right. And Assad not only gets to keep the part of Syria that he's just conquered thanks to Russian air power, but he gets to consolidate his grip on Syria. And, oh, by the way, guess who his new strategic partner is? Russia. Russia now puts S-400 missiles permanently stationed in the Mediterranean that can reach into Israel. They have a seaport. They have a battalion plus on the ground. They have over 40 aircraft conducting 100 airstrikes a day. No, to use the wrong word perhaps, but the genius of Vladimir Putin is showing through. This is a cheap, quick victory for him that gives him a permanent presence in the Middle East and protects
Major General, what does it give the United States? Surely we've gotten something out of this, or I'm getting up from the set and walking out because that's depressing.
Nothing. Nothing. I think what it may give the administration is a bit of a legacy boost. The president promised he'd end 2 wars. The last thing he wants is 3 wars with an incursion in Syria, or God forbid, an incursion into Libya. That's not going to happen. So there's some reflected glory in being able to keep us out of the Middle East and keeping us perhaps out of entanglements. But in terms of ground truth, in terms of the military advantage on the ground and who's winning strategically in this contest, advantage Putin.
Okay, and what about, and speaking of the Russians, because it was Russian weapons dealers that we had seen back in October being busted in Moldova for trying to sell nuclear weaponry capability to ISIS. They were busted, thankfully. I mean, I said, pull up this video because thank goodness for Romanian officials who were able to get in there and stop these guys. But the word was that these nuclear smugglers were trying to shop radioactive material to ISIS because, quote, they will bomb America. Now, apparently on 60 Minutes this weekend, the CIA director, John Brennan, is saying that, you know what, ISIS already has chemical weapons and they may try and hit us with them or even nuclear weapons.
Well, here's the thing, Liz. The chemical weapons are not a threat because this is mostly chlorine and mustard gas, very difficult to transport or sneak in the United States. But you hit the point right on the head. The great threat is a nuclear weapon under the control of ISIS. Al-Baghdadi has said time and time and time again that the future of the caliphate depends on his ability to strike Israel and the West with nuclear weapons. He's actively shopping the world for fissile material, and God forbid should that happen. It's a lot easier to sneak a nuke into the United States than it is chemical weapons, Liz.
Well, the Israelis have proven to be pretty darn smart when it comes to putting off that kind of stuff. There's some breaking news I want to ask you about, and it's just moved. Apparently, Reuters is reporting that the U.S. government has approved the sale to Pakistan of about 8 fighter jets, F-16 fighter jets, by Lockheed Martin. We're a business network, so we can put up Lockheed Martin stock. But again, this is a very big story, I think, that may perhaps enrage India. I'm not sure. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a good thing. One of the hidden messages here is that our relations with Pakistan over the last year have actually improved, partly because we're backing away from the border areas in Pakistan. The number of drone strikes has decreased enormously. Pakistan finally is fearful of the fact that we're going to pull out of Afghanistan. And oh, by the way, India is so dominant in the air that 6 more F-16s aren't going to really change the equation. So this is an act of goodwill, perhaps profits for Lockheed Martin. But at the end of the day, it's a good deal, a good sale. And oh, by the way, maybe we should be selling more arms to Pakistan, not less.
Great to see you, Major General. Thank you very much.
You too, Liz. Thank you.